are so pleased to have with us today two generations of a pioneer family in the Indian plastic industry. Dr. S.N. Kabra, Vice Chairman, MD, and Varun Kabra, MD Plastiblends India. Dr. S.N. Kabra is the co-founder of Coalsite Group, which includes Plastiblends India, Kabra Extrusion, Coalsite and Maharashtra Plastics and Industries, and he's also the current chairperson of Compounds and Master Bags Manufacturers Association in India. Plastiblends India is a leading manufacturer, supplier, and exporter of master badges, fillers, and compounds, having clients in European, African, South American, and Asian markets. The first master badge company having status of an export house, a part of the Coalsite group of companies having a total annual manufacturing capacity of over 1 lakh metric tons, along with production facilities located in Daman, Palsana, and Roorkee, Uttarakhand. A very hearty, warm welcome, SN Sir and Varun, to the show Insights with Nidhi Verma.
Thank you, Nidhi.
Thank you.
SN Sir, I think after our session with Shri Ravi Shankar ji, when we had a panel discussion, this is the first time I'm getting to speak to you. And I'm so looking forward for this dialogue with the both of you. SN Sir, you make a wide variety of master badges. I think there is no area in the plastic processing industry which doesn't use the master badges. Among the complete range that you have, which one are you leader in the Indian industry for?
See, as such, we are the largest manufacturer of master badges in India. And we are in all the sectors, all types of master badges we are manufacturing. And our presence is there in all the sectors. The only thing, say, we are very strong in packaging sector, agriculture sector, and also maybe the raw material manufacturing sector.
Okay.
Those people like Reliance, other things, we are supplying them a lot of master badges from us. And so it's very difficult to say exactly which sectors we are the strongest, but maximum, I said, more attendance is packaging, agriculture, and raw material.
I think so. You are all the strong verticals. So what is the size of the total Indian master badge market? And what would be your approximate market share? I know that you are the leader.
Today in India, say first talking about master badges means other than the filler master badges, color, black, white, and additives. The total market in India is about 300,000 tons.
Okay.
And for the filler master badges, the market is more than 600,000 tons.
Yes.
Our overall share in the master badge industry in India is about between 8 to 10%.
Okay. Okay. Varun, I would come to you that how much exports are you doing? So out of your total, sales, what percentage is domestic and what is exports? Because you are exporting to over 60 countries.
Yes. So firstly, Nidhi, I hope that all your viewers are safe and healthy. And also, I would like to let you know that I've been religiously following your YouTube channel, and I've watched all your interviews with the industry stalwarts. And I think you're doing a great job, and wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Coming to your,
this is a beautiful vitamin that I got. Thank you.
So coming back to your question, so we have in the domestic market, our total sales would be about 75% of our total sales is in domestic market and 25% is exports. And coming to the second part of your question, which was about the process-wise segmentation. So there, based on process and application-wise segmentation, about 50% would be to the packaging industry. Around 10% of our sales would be the textile industry, which is primarily polyester textile. 10% would be to the pipes and other construction materials. and rest of the sales would be for molding, polymerization, automotive, and other applications.
Okay, thanks for sharing that, Varun. Essence, several world leaders have also entered the Indian market, either directly or they've come through acquisitions. What are your views about this trend? And do you think that they bring in some special technologies that we in India do not have?
See, first of all, let me explain that all these people, there's a number of multinational companies are there, and 4 out of them are very, very large, who have got their presence in most of the countries. And incidentally, all the 4 of them are today in India. They've established their shops. But important thing to note is their scale of operations is quite small. Only they are making some specialized products. Those in the common products, they cannot compete with us or any other Indian manufacturers. And so only specialized products where they've got some special formulations, or sometimes they've got some special approvals abroad, like company like say maybe Coca-Cola, Pepsi, they've got approvals. So they are able to supply to them and with the good margins. Otherwise, we don't have much to worry about them. They're small operations, small size, and they are going to remain small. Because if you see all over the world, their manufacturing facilities, except with a few countries, is quite small. So the same thing is with India.
The volumes are with us. They may cater to some niche applications.
Yes, that's right.
Understood. So, Essence, sir, the sale of master badges can be taken as a very good indicator of the plastic consumptions. You service, as Varun was mentioning, the agriculture, appliance, automotive, healthcare, pharma, textiles, wire and cable, electrical, everything. Taking the cognizance of the demand, which sectors have you seen a decline in the last quarter, and which have you seen a surge in demand?
See, if you consider last 1 year or so, I will say the growth in all the sectors are there, somewhat slightly less or more. Otherwise, all the sectors, there has been growth, and there going to be growth in all the sectors for the plastics use. Only application where there is a degrowth is the single-use plastics. That, of course, is going to continue. Otherwise, if you consider last quarter only, last quarter, the best has been the packaging sector, because that has not stopped for even 1 day, been working all the time. And other sectors, the second sector is the textile sector, where there has been decline. Otherwise, all the sectors are more or less, they are growing. And I don't see that overall there is going to be decline in the use of master batches.
That's a very heartening thing to hear, Essence, sir, from you. What are your views on the auto sector recovery, sir? When is it the demand going to come back? Because master badges in huge volumes, it's used in the auto sector.
Now, see, I'll just like to go back to your earlier question for the first quarter, what has been there. In the first quarter of this year, we have gone to about the production about 65% of the normal production, total, overall. And if you consider only the month of June, we were almost at the level of 95%.
Okay.
And so what I see from now onwards, from July onwards, I don't see any decline in the overall demand of the master batches. And we're going to say at least year end, I will see that there will be did not be any degrowth overall in the master batch.
That's such an optimistic thing to see here, Essence, sir, because that reflects that the total demand of our polymer industry is back to track then.
Yes.
Very good, sir. So coming back to the auto question.
And your auto sector, yes. Auto sector, of course, our presence is very minimal in auto sector. So far, we have not done much in the auto sector. But also, auto sector is another sector which is very much affected, and it is going to remain affected. I see for next 2 years, auto sector may not fully recover. And after that, of course, the growth has to come.
Okay, sir. So how do you see the current and the future for the fiber filament and the raffia sector also in particular?
Fiber filament is at the first quarter, there has been a high decline in the market, in the huge. And the future also, I see there's going to be decline in the fiber sector, because probably last 6 months during this pandemic, people must have realized that what they are spending on the fibers, probably they can do with at least 50% of that can be done away with that. So I see that overall there is going to be in future also, there is going to be some decline in the fiber sector. Raffia sector, like other sectors, being a packaging sector, is going to grow, and there is going to be the normal growth
Yes.
for other sectors.
Mr. Lohia also did reiterate that very strongly, that
Yeah.
future is very bright. Varun, you have a lot of focus on the application engineering with your R&D center. What is the area where your organization has innovated, and what are your thoughts on the future innovation plans?
Yeah, so as you rightly pointed out, we have always had a lot of focus on R&D. We have one of the first DSIR approved master batch R&D labs in India. So DSIR is Department of Science and Industrial Research, which is a government body, and our lab has been accredited by DSIR. Currently, we are working on developing new products for various applications. For instance, we are working with some POPP customers in order to reduce their RM costs, and also for developing films for certain niche applications for which there are very few master batch manufacturers globally.
Okay.
We are also working with some FMCG players for their new products. Also, there is a huge requirement for agricultural films in India. So we are developing some additive master batches to enhance the life of these films. And finally, I would like to mention that we're also venturing into engineering plastic compounds for white goods, electrical, and automotive industry.
Oh, that's
Till
again,
now, we've been, yeah.
no, that's a very niche sector for the engineering plastics and the white goods, and the demand, I think, is going to go sky high in the coming times.
Yeah, so like traditionally, we've been present only in polyolefin master batches and polyester. So this is the first time we are actively venturing into engineering plastic compounds. And in fact, this is going to increase the size of our target market exponentially.
Oh, that is so good to hear. Thanks for sharing that, Varun. We are all going to be looking forward for the new verticals that you are growing now. Essence recycling is always in the focus, and more so now. Biodegradation and degradable plastics. What is your view on the growth of these areas?
Biodegradable, I feel still there is a time for India to come in for biodegradable, mainly because of the cost factor. So maybe I will say at least for next 2 years, we may not see much market for biodegradable. But as far as the degradable is there is some trend that started, and that will continue, some growth will be there. Of course, the volumes may not be that large. At least again, also there for about 2 years' time. Since till the complete awareness comes in the users and the Indian film manufacturers.
There is time to evolve, understood.
Yes.
Varun, the master batches utilizes a variety of materials from polymers to pigments and fillers. Do you get them all in India, or do you have to import some of them?
So that is a very wide question. So master batches require a variety of raw materials. Primarily, I mean, if you just segregate them, then there are polymers, pigments, additives, and calcium carbonate and other minerals. So when it comes to polymers, and specifically as far as Plastomins is concerned, till now, it's been polyolefins and PET. So India is self-sufficient for these polymers, and there is virtually no need to import them at the moment.
Great. So we are Atmanirbhar in that area.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
So then, yeah. So now let's talk about other pigments. So barring very few specialty pigments, India has some of the best quality and low-cost pigment manufacturers in the world. So we really don't need to import many pigments. Only exceptions here are carbon black and titanium dioxide. Black master batches and titanium dioxide used for white master batches. So we need to import some specialty carbon black grades as they are not available locally. When it comes to titanium dioxide, unfortunately, India is really lagging behind. Although we have some of the best ilmenite, which is a mineral from which titanium dioxide is extracted. So some of the best quality ilmenite in the world is available locally. But unfortunately, we export most of it to China and other countries, and in turn import titanium dioxide. So
Yeah,
I think India has a...
Mr. Mudit Jain from GCW had elaborated a lot on this factor that,
Yes.
the sadness of the part and why we are doing this. I'm sure the government has to...
It's very unfortunate thing.
It's very unfortunate, yeah.
Yes.
But thanks for bringing out that, Varun. And also, Varun, with this anti-China segment, I understand a lot of master batches from China because of the low cost are imported into India. Are you planning to kind of capture that pie? Any strategy?
Actually, if you see, China is not a major competitor for the Indian master batch industry.
Okay.
In fact, China is not a major threat for the Indian master batch industry anywhere in the world, as there are many high quality master batch manufacturers in India who are able to successfully compete with Chinese manufacturers at a global scale. So as far as the master batch industry is concerned, China is not a real threat to us.
That's probably one vertical that we hear that we are also competing. Quality, of course, ours is good. Price-wise also.
Yes.
Varun, you have a degree from University of Michigan College of Engineering. I read that in your CV. What are your expansion plans? You may have a lot of dreams and your own drawing board that this is how you would like to add on. And of course, I can see SN Sir's smile and make him proud.
So from products point of view, as I mentioned earlier, that we have traditionally been strong in polyolefin master batches, but now we are also venturing into engineering plastics, and this will increase the size of our target market multifold. Regarding other expansion plans, we have purchased land in West Bengal, and we will set up our plant over there soon, as soon as maybe the conditions improve. Also, we are actively looking for acquisition opportunities in India and overseas, provided it helps us with either with our geographic reach or gives us an entry into some industries where we are not that strong.
That looks very good plans for diversification as well as for expansion.
Preeti, to add to what Varun has said, now our current facilities are there. There's a lot of scope for expansion there. And I am sure that within next 5 years' time, our production capacity is going to double without acquisition or things. Only presently what we've got is going to at least double in the next 5 years' time.
This is very good to hear. I'm so glad that you're talking about this blueprint. I was speaking to Mr. Divgi from Millicron yesterday, and he also mentioned, that the good vision that we had of taking a lot of land much earlier helped so much for their expansion plans now.
Yes,
so I think, SN Sir, your decisions that you've made earlier are going to come very handy for Varun now. SN Sir, are you planning to put any manufacturing facilities in other countries to cater to the export requirement?
Yes, we have been looking for the opportunities. Of course, we're not very, very seriously, but we have been looking for the opportunities. And definitely, as soon as we get some opportunity, we are going to start some operations outside India, and we see good scope for that.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Essence, sir, you are an extremely respected and esteemed industry figure. I've always looked up to you. You know, in your silence, you say 1,000 words. Your compassionate and philanthropic side, many of our viewers may not be knowing. So I would like to bring to everyone's notice that currently you are serving as National President of Ekal Shri Hari, which is running over 70,000 Sanskar Kendras, along with over 1 lakh Ekal Vidyalayas in the tribal areas of India. Please share, sir, how you began your participation in this noble cause and how's been your journey?
Yeah, thank you, Nidhi, for taking up this subject. It's very dear to me.
Yes.
And yes, just to tell you about this movement, that is, we call it Ekal Abhiyan or Ekal movement. Now, as such, we have got presence in 110,000 villages today. We have got about, say, 3 million students studying. Presence and the Sanskar Kendras in 70,000 villages. And other activities like Gramuthan, Arogya also is slowly growing, and we are going to cover all the areas. As I said, we are present in 110,000 villages, and our objective is to go to 400,000 villages by 2040, means to cover the complete rural area of India in the next 20 years' time. That's our goal. But then during this period, we have seen this pandemic has come, Corona has come. And when the Corona started, when kind of lockdown started, naturally no movement for our people. Everything got stalled, no activities. But you'll be surprised to know that during this last 4-5 months' time, we have reached from 110,000 villages to 375,000 villages.
My God, during this time, is it?
During this time, our presence is there today in 375,000 villages. And during this Corona, and especially when a lot of migration took place from the cities to the rural areas, there was a lot of worry that this pandemic is going to spread there. And worry was there, if it spreads there, there will be no control in our hands. There is no infrastructure, health infrastructure available in these small villages. But I can tell you, because of our efforts, our reach to 375,000 villages, there had been practically no effect of this migration. In fact, even Health Minister of India, Mr. Harshvardhan, had just acknowledged also about 2 weeks before that in the rural areas or these 375,000 villages where our operations are there, total share in this Corona, COVID-19, of these 375,000 villages is less than 1% of the India's total.
Wow.
Means practically no effect of this. Even those who migrated from the cities to these villages, they were not allowed inside the villages without a total health checkup, without, say, 14 days quarantine. And so their presence did not affect at all this COVID-19 position in these villages. So this is a great thing which we have been able to do. And I don't think that anybody else, even the government, could have ever done this type of operations.
Sir, I really think that we need to have a separate session only on this, because this message, sir, I did not know that the expanse was so big. I knew a little bit about your work, but not so much. Thanks.
I'd like to add here something more here.
Yes.
this work we have been doing is the largest NGO work in the world.
My God.
Largest NGO work in the world in any time in the history of the world. Such type of large-scale work has never been attempted, at least for last 5,000 years. This was only attempted about 10,000 years before by Ram. And actually, Ram's birth was only for this purpose. This was 14 years he was in Vanvas, and he was doing only this thing. It's work we are carrying on today. So there we hear of so many stories about Surpankha and Sita Haran and Lanka then, and Lanka and then victory over Ravan's death and everything. But all this history, what we hear, what is there in the Ramayana and other things, is only the last 1 year's history. First 13 years, Ram was doing only organizing, motivating all these tribals, village, Vanvasis. For 13 years, he was doing only that. And basically, the purpose of his Vanvas was only that. And so if you see that mighty king like Ravan was the strongest in the world that time, was defeated by what we call as the Vanar Sena. But what is Vanar Sena? It was not Bandhas. Vanar in Sanskrit also means those people who are living in the Vanvas, one in one.
Okay.
Vane Vasti iti Vanara. So that is the actual meaning of Vanar when they mention Valmiki or the Tulsidas. That these are the people staying in this Vanvas area, Vanvasis, who were with Ram, and there with their support, where no support, no side help from Ayodhya or anywhere kingdom or any city society or kingdom. They on their own, they were able to defeat the mightiest king Ravan at that time. And the same thing we are doing. I can tell you one thing. By 2040, India is going to be a strong country. That's of course there. But because of our work, India is going to become once again Vishwa Guru Bharat. Vishwa Guru Bharat. That is the achievement. And today also, as the Ravan was killed and Ravan was won by Ram with the help of these Vanvasis, if at all war takes place, we don't think it should take place between India and China. Only these 40 crore, 400 million Vanvasis are going to face those people and going to defeat them. I don't think our army will come from anywhere else except within these 400 million villagers, Vanvasis, where we are working. So we are sort of say consolidating them, motivating them, and the type of work they are doing is uncomparable for anywhere in the world, anywhere in the history. And so it's a very, I'm very happy, fortunate to be associated with that. I'm of course the national president for one of the arms of this Ekal movement. And I joined this movement about 20 years before. And the first time I joined, when that time Subhash Chandra of GTV, he became the global chairman of this organization. And that time I happened to work with him. And slowly since then I'm there. And today for last 12 years, I am holding the post of national president for that. And so it's a huge work, type of work nobody else has done, nobody else can do.
Sir, I I'm so blessed to hear this. I mean, I can't tell you that I did not know the expanse and scale of this work that you were doing. Dhruv used to tell me, but I did not know that it was so large.
Yes.
And I'm saying, sir, such a beautiful and well-led life, sir. I'm saying that when this pandemic has dawned on us, more so, the realization of the basic strong principles and values and the philosophies of life, that should have been there. And we have been forced to cut out the shaft that all of us were embroiled in. Your example stands so tall, sir. I mean, and something which is the real value of life. I'm saying, sir, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you, Nidhi, for your kindness. Yes.
You see how many lives you'll touch, sir, when all our industry people will be watching this interview. My father says that, you have not lived one single day until you have done one thing for someone who's not going to return back to you. I mean, he always has taught us this, but I'm saying that your scale, you have touched so many lives that I don't have words to say this, sir. I am so thankful to you that you shared this with us.
During this 5 months' time, we added an army of volunteers of 16 lakh. 16 lakh new volunteers were added during this 4 years, and they have been instrumental in implementing this work.
I'm telling you, sir. Sir, I am sure that it is going to kind of, wake up that goodness vibe in people when they hear that. That is why I always said that there is some aura around you. Varun, I used to force him to come and attend my conferences always, and he's always been very kind to always come and bless me. And I always said that, SN sir would sit quietly, he would listen his lectures, but you could see that, that halo that he has around him. Now we know that aapka jo karam hai na, sir, that gives you a halo, sir. Thank you so much for sharing. SN sir, you always, I think you've had half of decade of rich experience in the industry also. Aapka kya takeaway hai? Because you are a very thinking kind of a person, that what should be the pillar of success for a business?
To be precise, we are in the plastic industry, or I'm in the plastic industry for the last 58 years. 1962 started, today is 2020, so it is 58 years time. And we have been working all the time for the plastic industry, whether it's machinery business or the processing in the industry. Now I'm focusing on processing. And that's what I will say, that India have good talents. India has got the demands. India has got the entrepreneurs who are doing this thing. Only thing is, what people, I will say, advice to the people is, you have to remain focused. We are focused there. We have to try to establish the world-class manufacturing facilities. Because today, we can't think of anything else lesser than that. We have to do everything world-class, because we are thinking of the world market. And for there, R&D is one thing, as Varun was saying, on which every unit must focus on that. And the master batch manufacturing is nothing but R&D. Otherwise, the equipment, what we have, what multinationals have, everything is same, processes are same, everything same, only the formulations are there, but the development of these formulations, that's the R&D. So the continuous R&D has to be there, and everybody does that thing. Naturally, India can capture a wide range of market, world market, in a very short time. So this is what I will say to people, to remain focused, do the R&D, and naturally the growth is bound to be there.
So optimistic. This session has been so well-meaning, sir. The exact reflection of what SN sir stands for. Varun, our young Turk, is not only maintaining, but will also raise the bar of standards and quality, not only for India, but worldwide. We have full hope in that. We take your blessings, sir, and huge learnings from this session, and shall see you both soon on the other side. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nidhi, for giving this opportunity to express our views. And of course, we always like to talk to you. We're very happy with talking to you. And so, thank you once again.
Your blessings, sir, always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye. Thank you.